Here we go.
Okay.
Welcome, friends, to MJ Radio. I'm Melinda Joy Pattison. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in private practice here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I'm delighted to bring you this YouTube podcast. I've been on radio for about the last year, talking with many interesting people about issues around mental health and well-being. The focus of this show is simply raising the collective consciousness. We've widened our scope. So anytime you tune in, you're going to hear interesting conversations with interesting people about interesting things. Today, I'm delighted to have my friend and mentor, previous teacher, Victor Nelson, who has been a therapist, a family therapist. We're working with individuals also and groups. He has been a teacher at Southwestern College where I received my Master's of Counseling, and he's been on my show like 3 times. So Victor, today everybody gets to see you. This is wonderful. Yes. And we don't have to do ads and we don't have to do station identification. It's so much more fun that I get to see you too while we're talking. Yes. And in the past, we've talked about your work. We've talked about how you came to do your work. We've talked about hospitality. Was a particular program that we talked about. It was really so wonderful. And many other things we've talked about. And today, we're going to talk about what's on everybody's mind, how to thrive in a pandemic, such as we're in.
Well, and as
right,
you and I,
so welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be with you, and I love this format. Because I think
I'm so glad.
You're going to have a much broader audience, so I think this is going to be really, really good. Yeah. And as we were talking about this, and I was thinking about this. I think I will be bringing some of that hospitality into our conversation today, but I'm going to hold off on that to sort of set a stage.
Okay.
So just acknowledging that the coronavirus, the political polarization, the racial issues that our country is facing, economic challenges, parenting when you may not have childcare or kids are not sure about, are they going to school, not going to school. It is such a load of stressors that most of us have never been through such magnified stressors in our lives.
Right. The intensity level is just off the charts.
And what that means, I did a study on stress many, many years ago, and there is an optimal level of stress that we all need. One of the studies that I found looked at mortality rates in nursing homes that were exacerbated when the residents had no stress. It was better to have an elderly resident who may take half an hour to get himself or herself dressed, and it was a moderate level of stress, but they actually fared better than residents where they had staff would dress them or the staff would feed them. So having some level of stress is actually a good thing.
So you're saying that it's good to have something required of us.
Yes. Yep. And and then in the same breath, we have to say, but when we get too much stress, then it tends to magnify all of the issues that we may be struggling with. So in cases where there may be marital discord, that may get exacerbated. It may get worse. If someone is experiencing depression or anxiety, that's likely to get worse rather than better.
Yeah, right. And all of these things that people just normally are going through on top of pandemic, on top of social unrest, on top of uh, the intensity of our political situation in this country. It's like some people just can't get a break. You just can't get a break. It just keeps magnifying. It's cumulative. And people will say to me in the therapy session, they'll say, I have this. I'm taking care of my parents. I'm moving. I'm having trouble with a job. And I'm like, I said, well, why wouldn't you be stressed about that? Those things that you just mentioned to me are all pretty much at the top of the stress meter.
Right.
Any one of them would be enough. But not only do you have all that, you have these other things that are going on in the world around you. Yeah. It's no surprise.
Yep. So the challenge would be, how do we help people take a breather? To use the image of a mountain hike or a backpacking trip, you can't just keep walking uphill. At some point, you're going to need to have a break. At some point, you need the terrain to level out for a while, or even go downhill.
Oh, that's a really good analogy too. Yeah.
So it's like, how do we help people find that breather, that moment of, wow, I can just take a break? And that's really the challenge, because when people get so wrapped up into the stressors of the day-to-day pressure that they're experiencing, it's hard to build in some self-care.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what's going to be effective self-care when you're dealing with all this other stuff?
I recommend therapy.
Absolutely.
Just for one thing.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Well, and from my background in pastoral counseling, marriage and family therapy, the therapy may well be a therapist. Yay. If you can find the courage and take the initiative, have a professional provide that support, help you navigate a challenging time. Maybe it's a spiritual director who can help you with that same kind of process. But finding someone that you are able to talk with, gain some perspective, maybe even gain some new tools, how to cope more effectively.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what have you found in your practice that people have resonated with in terms of?
Use me.
Oh, bless you. Speaking of spiritual directing, bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but where do people find that blessing? That's a real challenge.
Yes, and I always say, even before the pandemic and all these other things that seem to be just overloading us with stress, just in general, I say, we all need support. We all need support, and that's what I call therapy, is support. It's not about there being something wrong with you. It's about having support to get through the stuff and to process stuff. And in this time, I don't think it's possible to have too much support.
Yeah.
So the idea is, what does that look like for you? What does that look like for me? What does that look like for somebody else? Because it's not just about emotional. It's not just about spiritual. It's not just physical, and it's not just mental. It's all of those things.
That's holistic. That's exactly right.
It's very holistic. Yeah.
And what's interesting is your question is absolutely on target. Helping a person identify how and where does each person find that support, because it will be different for each person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a really useful question. And the way I go at that with friends, colleagues, clients, when you faced other difficult times in life, what helped you get through those times? So helping people think back on the resources that they were able to employ getting through another challenge, getting through another difficult time.
Right. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so which of those things might be helpful right now? What else might you need to add to that, you know, for an effective way of managing or coping with such a huge amount of challenge?
Right. Right. Victor, I want to hear about that. I want to hear about that Chinese symbol
Oh, yes, we were
that
talking
you were
about this.
talking. Yeah.
Right.
Because
And
it
this
has
was,
something very much to do with this.
yes. So the common understanding is that the Chinese character for the word crisis is actually a combination of two different Chinese characters, one representing danger, the other representing opportunity. That's incorrect, but it's commonly used. And we actually have to uh, uh, give JFK, our president back in 1960, when he was elected, he was the one who made reference to crisis being danger plus opportunity. And that's not it. In the Chinese language, the symbol for crisis is a combination of danger and crisis. The opportunity is not apparent. And so
At least
means,
within that figure.
yeah, it's
Right.
it's like we have to be aware. We have to be wary because there's danger. We're facing a dangerous time. So we have to be on our toes. We have to be observant. We have to be really perceptive and then do everything we can to promote safety or opportunities, the well-being that we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but crisis means, yeah, there's danger and there's a crisis. We have to be on our toes.
There's definitely a crisis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, is
Yeah.
there opportunity possible? Absolutely.
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 Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And what we've discovered is, you know, we've been doing the social distancing since March when my wife's
Yeah,
treatment.
mid-March.
Yeah. So my wife went into medical treatment. We had to be super, super careful. We
I
started
bet,
doing
of course.
curbside orders for grocery and household items. We're being prudent. We're being wary. We're being careful. That doesn't mean we shut down. And it doesn't mean we just curl into a fetal position until it all goes away. We can't do that.
Right.
You know,
Because that might be a long time.
it can be a long time. So we were talking with some friends on Zoom yesterday, and I made the observation that this is not temporary. This is not in passing. This is becoming a new normal for people. You know, how do we do school for our children with remote
Right.
learning? Because I think we're going to have to accommodate to that. How do we do remote work? You know, if we have jobs that allow us to work remotely, virtually, there might be some good things that come out of that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
absolutely think there's good things that come out of the worst of situations.
Right.
And sometimes takes time to notice what the positive impact has
Yeah.
been, right? I mean, for myself in my practice, that before this, I would have said to you, I'm not going to do online
Right.
therapy.
Right.
I'm not going to counsel somebody over the phone. I'm not going to text with my clients.
Yeah.
Well, all that out the window,
right.
because whatever's going to be the most helpful, whatever's going to make you feel safe.
Right.
That's what we're going to do. It's just, and I feel like it's entirely possible that I have some clients who will never return to the office.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. But going forward, I don't want to be doing this all the time except for
Right.
this show. But I can do it as needed and as appropriate, and that's beautiful.
Right.
That expands my capacity and my vision of what therapy can be, to be able to use all these. I mean, in fact, hasn't the internet saved our life during this time?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah. Well,
You
and
know,
just as you're talking about this, Melinda Joy, you are a great example of adapting to a very difficult situation. So you decided to do this show for YouTube, and now you've got people face to face. Your listeners, viewers can see the guests that you have. It's much more dialogical. We have conversation, and I think it's like you have come upon something that's going to have a bigger impact, greater impact. Who knows what creative things people will come up with in in order to manage stuff.
Yeah. Have you seen some of these videos where people are singing or playing instruments?
Oh my
and they're
gosh, fabulous. Yes.
It is. I saw the most phenomenal one this morning, and they're just so rich. It's wonderful what people are coming up with.
Yeah. And a year ago, nobody would have even thought of that.
No, it's like another guest I had said, we're not doing this stuff because we just thought, hey, that's a good idea. We're doing it because we have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because disappearing is not an option.
Right.
And he was talking about church in particular.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not an option to just stop having church. It's not an option. So we're not doing this stuff because we thought it was a great idea. We're doing it because we have to, but turns out, hey, it is a great idea.
It's powerful. Yes, it's so powerful.
It's a great idea. And in fact, we're impacting lives in ways that we never thought about impacting lives.
Yeah.
So definitely beautiful things come out of crisis.
Yes. Yes.
It's true.
And
it doesn't make the crisis less painful.
No.
That's also important. We can't just go around like with a happy face, denying that crisis exists, because that's going to turn around.
That's like going back to that understanding of crisis and danger. Whistling in the cemetery, it's like we have to be aware. Yes, it's all around us. The danger, the threat is very real. And how can we thrive in the midst of that?
Right. How can we find new ways to be?
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. So we would have email exchanges with these friends from Indiana. Let's get together. Let's do another trip. We'll vacation together. Well, that's out the window. But now we've had a couple of incredibly positive, supportive, enjoyable Zoom contacts. We were on Zoom for almost 2 hours yesterday with these folks.
Wow.
And so it's like they've become more of a regular part of our support network. We're having,
and you for them, and you for
exactly.
them.
It's very mutual.
It's very mutual. Yeah. That's so great. That's so great.
So that's a way of discovering, how can we still be connected with people? How can we maintain those connections if we can't be in person?
Right.
And so, doing the video chats has become even more important. And what's interesting, I do a lot of projects around the house, and my wife will be outside and she'll be talking with somebody, and then half an hour later, she's still on the phone with them. There's no such thing as short conversations anymore. And so that's a good thing. That's nurturing that hospitable connection with people.
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So
And some of your projects are outside, right?
yes, absolutely.
Yes. Which is another thing that it's so important to get it, even though you might not be
Yes.
going all the places you're normally going, you don't have to stay in the house.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can be outside, be in nature, and find in that nourishment.
Yes.
And
And that's part of it. Yeah. So,
yeah.
so people I've talked with, it's fascinating. One of my friends has taken up painting as a
Oh,
hobby.
nice. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another
Nice.
was doing more exercise. Another decided to get a camera, a good digital camera to start
Oh,
doing
nice.
photography again. It's
Excellent.
like nurture your interests. You can still do those
Mhm.
things. I'm not going to sing this song to you, but I'm working on a song that I'm writing.
Oh,
Okay.
come on, Victor.
That'll be for a different YouTube, whatever. But I've written some music in the past, and in fact, co-authored a musical when I was in seminary. And so,
Oh, how about
yeah,
that?
so that, I mean, that goes back many, many years. So just the other day, I'm working outside and I'm humming to myself, and I had heard a Mac Davis song, I Believe in Music, right?
Uh-huh. I know
Uh,
that one.
yeah.
Right? Mac
And so,
Davis, man, is that a voice
uh,
out of the past?
yeah. And so I'm humming this, and all of a sudden I'm going, I believe in snack foods. So it's like I'm starting to write this song about snack foods with Mac's tune. So
He might be rolling over.
he's still around. He's still around.
He's still
Yeah,
around.
yeah, yeah. I've
Well,
had
I'm
a
really dating myself.
yeah. So I've had a couple of gracious opportunities to talk with him because he's
Is that
related
true?
to my former business partner. Yeah, and so
Oh, wow.
yeah, I've got
And
to talk.
Mac Davis is still around.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
How old must he be?
I'm not even gonna guess. Um, he might be as old as I am, or even older.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So
You're just a youngster, we know.
yes, really. So
Yeah.
yeah, this whole thing, whatever challenges we faced before the coronavirus, our mental well-being, our emotional well-being, that's going to be exacerbated as the stressors pile on. So if we've had tendencies toward depression or anxiety or something like that, those are probably going to get more intensified. And in order to combat that, in order to find the balance in that, we have to be more wary, more aware, more intentional.
More aware.
Yeah.
Paying more attention to where the opportunities are.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I have the best bumper sticker on my Jeep.
Oh, what?
It says, must be present to win.
Aha.
Aha!
I love it.
Right? Isn't that great?
The bumper
Yeah.
sticker on our van says, you always had the power within you.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yes.
That's a good one too. Now, I think that this crisis, multi-level, that we're in, is also an incredible opportunity to say, you know, what was in my life? Two things. What was in my life before that I don't need, that I don't miss,
Perfect.
that I do not want to put back.
Right.
And the other side of that being, what is it that now I can put in my life that was missing?
Yeah.
And hey, that makes my trajectory forward look way different.
Oh, well put.
So I have to ask you that question, Victor, of what is it that you don't miss from
Uh,
BC. I call it BC.
yeah, before coronavirus. Um, there's not a lot that I am missing other than the human contact.
Mm.
It's more
I
like,
hear this a lot. Mhm.
yeah. So it's like, well, we've used this time, to do some of the mental and physical house cleaning, decide what we want to keep, what we want to get rid of,
Mm.
uh,
Mm.
donate some items that we're no longer
Yeah.
using. So there's that kind of house cleaning.
Yeah.
But the question for me was, what was in my life that I would like more of? Or what could I add that I would like now? So I built a wood shop. And
Oh, good for you. During
yeah,
this time, you did
during this
that?
time, yep. So
Wow.
tomorrow is the day we get it hot and ready to go. The electrician comes, we'll get it fired up,
Woohoo!
and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Super. And what are you going to make in there, Victor?
Oh my gosh. I was starting to make a list of projects. So basically, I like to do just little around the house kinds of things. I'm also a fan of wind chimes. Oh,
Oh, nice. What do
and
you make them out of?
I've made them out of metal before, but they can be
Yes.
any medium. Wood, you can do it out of wood or shells. But I've studied the physics of wind chimes, and so this might really resonate, no pun intended, with your audience. That a wind chime, most of the commercial wind chimes are made incorrectly because the length of the tube, let's say it's a metal tube,
Okay.
you have different lengths of tube, but the holes are all drilled 1 inch from the top because it's even, right?
Okay.
The sad truth is that's going to deaden the sound wave with most of the tubes because the hole has to be drilled at the low point in the sound wave, which is 0.204% of the length of the medium. so the holes need to be about 1/5 the length of whatever the medium is, rather than all be the same place, drilled 1 inch down or 2 inches down or whatever. So
I'm trying to picture that in my mind, and it's
yeah,
not computing.
yeah.
How then you would attach
Well,
it so that it's hanging.
yeah, you still put the hole in, but it's going to be at about 20% of the length of the tube, for instance.
So are yours big wind chimes or little
I've
ones?
done big 2.5 inch pipes that were 4 feet long.
Wow.
They
Cool.
make a noise.
I bet they make a lovely resonating
Oh my.
sound. I love wind chimes.
Oh, you know what? I've got one right behind me. Is it inappropriate for me to get up just real quickly and show it to you?
No.
Let's
Please.
do that.
I want to
Hang
see.
on. Yeah, this is a little
Oh,
note.
that is
Yeah.
a beautiful
Yeah.
sound.
And what you'll notice, the holes are not all equidistant from the thread. They're 1/5 of the way down the tube. And so they get a more pure tone.
So Victor, hold that. Would you hold that
Sure.
back up again?
Yes.
And can you hold it back like so we can see? Yeah, that is so beautiful. What
Yeah.
kind of wood is
So
that?
it's kind of a
And
Asian,
it stands on the table.
yeah, it's a desk piece that I had in my office.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
beautiful. What kind of wood is that?
Oh, this is probably a maple or a cherry. I guess the stand is oak, but this might have been a cherry. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the tubes are copper.
Yeah, just a copper tube. Yeah.
They're so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. So that'd be
Well,
the
look
kind
at
of
that,
thing.
what I just learned about you today.
Yeah. Now, how I would connect that with our conversation is
Of course, of
is
course.
how do we find that prime resonance in our lives? We can't
Oh,
just
look
be,
at you. Look at how
we
you did
can't,
that.
yeah, we can't have just random activity. It's sort of like drilling random holes in the copper tube won't give us the purest sound. So how can we find that prime resonance? It's going to nurture us. It's going to feed us. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a profound,
Yeah.
way profound
I think
thought.
that'll be one of my fun projects. I'll be making
Making wind
little
chimes.
wind chimes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's lovely. That's just so lovely.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is a perfect note upon which to bring our our time to a close today. But Victor, it's so much fun to have you on,
Oh,
and we'll
yeah.
do this again.
We
We'll do
absolutely
it
will.
again.
We
Right?
absolutely will.
Right? Yeah.
I'm so
So,
happy for you that you're using this medium, and I love the fact that you're stepping out into this
oh, thank
uncharted
you.
territory. You're finding
Thank
your
you.
resonance, and
I
so this
am. I am.
will be
Thank
rich.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And thank you, listeners and viewers,
Yeah.
for being here with us today. We'll see you again next time. Remember, when you tune in to MJ Radio, you're going to hear interesting conversations with interesting people about interesting things.
Nice.
Until next time, bye bye.
Goodbye now.